Hi guys, Dana here again for If This Car Could Talk, bringing you another interesting and exciting episode. Since it's Thursday, that means we're bringing you a brief history of the car we featured last Sunday. That car was Terry Hill's 2019 Dodge Challenger RT Wide Body. The Challenger has an extensive history of performance and style for the Chrysler Corporation, as you'll soon hear. So grab a seat, sit back, and pay attention. You'll hopefully learn something. Don't worry though, no tests will be given afterwards, so no pressure to do anything but enjoy the background of these iconic cars. When the video concludes, be sure to like and share it with all your friends, and then subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. As always, thanks for watching. Challenger. When you hear that word, what do you think of? If you're a car enthusiast, you no doubt think of many things. Power, luxury, muscle, classic, Hemi, to name a few. The Dodge Challenger conjures up many feelings and emotions for the auto enthusiast, but I would venture a guess that even those that are not enthusiastic would still recognize the iconic Challenger nameplate and be able to tell you in a conversation what it is. For a car that lasted only 5 model years from 1970 to 74, that is impressive to say the least. That puts the Dodge Challenger right in the mix of the greatness like Mustang, Cougar, Camaro, and others that are easily recognized names. Where did this name come from? Well, to answer that question, you have to go all the way back to May 1st, 1959. Yes, all the way back to the 50s. Dodge decided they needed to boost sales during the summer of 1959, and so they added an option package to their already popular two-door versions of the Dodge Coronet. It was called the Silver Challenger. It came with a whole slew of luxurious options, such as interior upgrades, white wall tires, sun visors, electric windshield wipers, and deep pile carpeting. It was only a 1-year only option, with the very limited production, was only offered in one color, silver, and was only intended to boost interest and additional sales during the summer months of 1959. The 1970 Dodge Challenger made its debut in 1969, only this time it was its own animal. Dodge needed to produce something that competed with other upscale and larger offerings like the Mercury Cougar. Aren't the names of the muscle cars cool from those days? Mustang, GTX, Roadrunner, GTO, 442, Barracuda, later named the Cuda, and Challenger, to name a few. Dodge installed the Challenger body on the E-body platform that it shared with the new Cuda and Barracuda offering from Plymouth, after a massive upgrade and redesign from the A-body platform of the Barracuda models of the 60s. The platform was the only similarity though. Even though the two models may look similar, they share nothing other than the platform. The 1970 Dodge Challenger was offered with several engine options ranging from the meek but wildly popular and fantastic workhorse of the Slant 6 to the beast of all beasts, the 425 horsepower, immensely popular and rare 426 Hemi. No doubt a very expensive undertaking for Chrysler engineers back in the day, but they did not give up. After refinements and no doubt many failures, Chrysler engineers came up with the 426 Hemi. I would dare say there is not a car enthusiast in the world that doesn't recognize that 426 Hemi. The sound, the rumble, and the power. A finicky engine for sure, but one that lives as one of the most iconic engines ever produced. The 440 was the most popular engine option, a lot less finicky and a lot less expensive for the youth market that the Challenger was aimed right at, and still a very powerful option, propelling you from 0 to 60 in 6 seconds and transporting the quarter mile in just 13.6 seconds at 104 miles per hour. 1969 and 1970 also saw Chrysler bring out the bright and vibrant impact colors. Subtle they were not. Names like Hemi Orange, Plum Crazy Purple, Sublime Green, Top Banana identified them, but they had to be seen in person to really appreciate how cool they looked on these sexy Mopar muscle cars. The Challenger ran from 1970 to 74, but arguably made a indelible mark in history as one of the greatest muscle cars of not only its time, but of all time. Dodge would make 83,000 Challengers for the 1970 model year, and the moniker would only be used for the next 4 years before going into hibernation for a few. In 1978, Dodge brought back the Challenger name as a rebadged Mitsubishi Galant. It still had the Hemi, but it was an inline 4-cylinder version that produced a whopping, are you ready, 105 horsepower. but by golly, it got good gas mileage. That run lasted until 1983, where the vehicle was rebadged yet again. The Challenger name dropped altogether, and it became a Mitsubishi Conquest. 25 years later, 25 long years later, Dodge would bring back the Challenger badge. Nostalgia for muscle cars was heating up, and Chrysler saw a big market segment for a modern performance car with retro styling. At the 2006 Detroit Auto Show, the Dodge Challenger concept was displayed. It drew so much enthusiasm and interest and hunger for the old nameplate that 2 years later, the Dodge Challenger was released. It only came in the SRT 8 model, featuring an all-new 6.1-liter pushrod Hemi engine that produced 425 horsepower and 420 foot-pounds of torque. The styling cues were very similar to that of the 70s versions, with modern technology additions. It drew immense interest and popularity immediately. Throughout its production, the Challenger would be motivated by several different power plants. Briefly, the 3.5-liter V6 was used in 2009 and 10, replaced by the 3.6-liter engine that's still in use today. The legendary 5.7-liter Hemi V8 was first used in 2009 and is also still available. For serious performance enthusiasts, a 6.2-liter Hemi V8 called the Demon, sporting a supercharger, debuted in 2018 and is still an option. Finally, the 6.4-liter Hemi V8 would first be seen on an option sheet in 2011 and is also still available today. Of course, there have been many variances to these engines and models, and specific models would get certain engines. Transmission offerings over the years have been limited to one of three automatics: a 4-speed in 2009, a 5-speed from 2008 to 14, and finally the incredible 8-speed from 2014 to present day. As it should be the case for the performance-oriented automobile, some people prefer to row their own gears, so a Tremec TR6060 has been available from the Challenger's debut year in 2008 right up to today. In 2009, the Challenger came out with more models and options, such as the SE trim as well as the RT trim. It was also offered with a 6-speed manual transmission and a limited slip differential that was not offered in the 2008 version. In 2011, the 6.1 was dropped, and in its place was a 6.2-liter 392 Hemi that produced 470 horsepower and 470 foot-pound of torque. In 2015, that simply was not enough. Dodge would turn the world on edge yet again by introducing the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. Yep, you know those old Dodge brothers, never satisfied with the status quo. The 2015 Dodge Challenger Hellcat offered the 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi engine that produced a whopping 707 horsepower and 707 foot-pound of torque. It was, for all intents and purposes, a race car that you could buy off the showroom floor. Again, a tip of the hat to the glory days of American muscle. That impressive power would last until the 2018 model year. Yes, in 2018, Dodge decided yet again it would not be outdone in the horsepower department, so it introduced the Dodge Demon. This 840 horsepower beast came with an optional box, the Demon Crate, for $1 that would give you anything for racing, from skinny front drag wheels to a floor jack, a racing ECU that allowed you to use race gas, and all kinds of other race goodies. It was the only production car to come with drag radial tires, the only non-electric car to do 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds, and the only car that covered the quarter mile in 9.65 seconds, and the only production car capable of doing a wheelie at launch. It produced 1.8 Gs at launch, making it the hardest launching production car ever. Dodge made 3,300 of these beasts that year, so they're sure to be highly coveted by collectors in the future, maybe even one day equaling the 70 or 71 Hemi Cuda or Challenger, if it's a car with rock-solid provenance. Only time will tell. Going into the 2019 and 2020 model years, Dodge would continue to up the ante on the Challenger. Even though the Demon was a one-year production, the Hellcat would be bumped to 717 horsepower. The Challenger Red Eye would fill the void left when the Demon was discontinued, now putting out 797 horsepower. Dodge continues to impress. Last Sunday's feature car is a stunning 2019 Challenger RT Scat Pack wide body version. If you haven't seen it yet, find the video and check it out. It's a beauty. It comes with a naturally aspirated 6.4 liter 392 Hemi, producing 485 horsepower and 475 pounds of torque. It was the wide body configuration that would normally be only offered on the Hellcat. This wide body package includes the Hellcat suspension, the massive 11-inch wide wheels sporting the incredible 305 35R20 tires that put 12 to 13 inches of rubber at each corner on the ground. It also features superior Brembo brakes all the way around, 6 piston calipers on the front and 4 piston calipers on the rear. It is, for all intents and purposes, the Hellcat, with the non-supercharged 6.4 liter engine rather than the supercharged 6.2 liter version. U.S. production for the 2019 model year Dodge Challenger wide body Scat Pack totaled just 3,875 copies. Coupled with the sublime green color, FJ5, the option and technology packages offered for these models, the feature car is one of only 6 made for the U.S. market, according to FCA officials. With the care this Challenger has from its current owner, Terry Hill, full documentation, keeping the mileage low, etc., collector car market conditions in the future may be that this car, if ever sold, could create the same frenzy among collectors as only a few cars have, especially at an auction. If you don't think so, imagine if someone would have purchased a Hemi-powered 4-speed 69 Dodge Daytona, kept it all of these years with low mileage and is fully documented and still wears its original paint, still has its original interior. Back in '69 he would have been labeled as crazy for the care and limited miles it had put on it. I'd venture to say that this is easily a $2 million car in the right venue to a few discriminating collectors. Maybe Terry's Challenger and other limited edition modern muscle cars could do the same. We'll see. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't done so, please click on the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. It's free, and we'd love for you to become part of the If This Car Could Talk family. Don't miss the 1967 Mustang we're featuring on Sunday, another beautiful car with very enthusiastic lady owner that has an intriguing story. Until next time, keep it between the ditches and stay safe out there.